I used to think our house was a place where sound slept easy. The fridge hummed, the neighbor's dog barked at 7, and Sarah's keys made that bright little clatter at the door every night. Routine wrapped me like a warm towel. On the Thursday, it changed. I was cooking her favorite lemon chicken, too much garlic singing along to a dumb jingle. The knock came as I plated the food. Not a polite tap, quick, urgent knuckles. I opened the door to Rachel, Sarah's best friend since college. She looked wrong, no makeup, sweatshirt inside out, eyes glassy like she'd run through a storm only she could feel. Tom, can I come in? Her voice was small. Something in my stomach unclenched and then snapped tight. I stepped aside. She hovered like she might bolt. I kept waiting for accident or emergency. Instead, she stared at the floor, twisting her sleeve. I can't do this anymore. Do what? The kitchen smelled like lemon and heat and everything that had felt solid 5 minutes ago. Lie, she said. About Sarah. We moved to the couch. Rachel perched on the edge like a bird ready to fly. Please don't hate me, she said. I told her to stop. Stop what? She's been seeing someone for months. The word months landed heavy. She used me as cover. The late nights, the client dinners. She was with him. I laughed. Too loud. No, you're misunderstanding. Tom, she looked up, and there it was, the pity. I told you we were together. We weren't. The room tipped like a boat forgetting how to float. In the kitchen, the pan hissed. I thought of last week. New perfume. Her phone face down. A tight smile that didn't reach her eyes. Tiny things I'd shoved into the junk drawer of my mind. I need proof, I said. Rachel nodded. Her hands shook as she pulled out her phone. I took pictures. She whispered, if she wouldn't tell you. I had to. A photo of Sarah filled the screen, my wife laughing under the soft light of a coffee shop I knew. Not with Rachel. With a man I'd never seen. His hand on her wrist like he owned the beat of her pulse. Another image of them leaving together. Her head tucked under his chin the way she used to fold into me. The lemon smell turned sour. 3 weeks ago, and last night. She winced. I told her today I wouldn't lie again. She said I was overreacting. I stood because sitting felt like drowning. Behind my ribs, something hot and dense throbbed. Anger, grief, humiliation. Where is she now? Maybe at Bean and Birch. They go there sometimes. I grabbed my jacket, keys, and the part of myself that still believed in us, and felt it slip like a knot coming undone. I have to see it, I said. I'm sorry. She sounded like a kid admitting she broke something that can't be replaced. I left the food cooling into a memorial. The hallway mirror caught my face, older, meaner round the eyes. I drove with the window cracked because I was afraid I'd choke if I didn't. Bean and Birch glowed ahead, through the glass. I could already see her. Sarah tilted toward a man with a grin. The two of them in a bubble that used to be mine. I killed the engine and stepped into the kind of scene where a life splits in two. The bell over the coffee shop door gave a cheerful jingle, a sound so out of place it almost made me laugh. Sarah's head snapped toward me mid-laugh, her smile still hanging in the air like she hadn't decided if it should die or pretend it belonged to me. The man across from her turned slow and casual. Like I was a waiter bringing the wrong order. Tom? She said, like my name was a question she didn't remember asking. Don't Tom me, I said, walking straight to their table. My voice felt foreign, stripped of the warmth it used to hold for her. Who is he? Her eyes darted between us, a flicker of calculation. This isn't. It is. I cut in, Rachel told me. She showed me pictures. The man leaned back, crossing his arms. Maybe we should talk outside. I turned to him. No, you're not part of this. Not anymore. Sarah's shoulders tensed. It started with small lies, she said quietly. Late work nights. Yes, but it wasn't supposed to go this far. Small lies. I could hear the bitterness scraping my throat. You build a whole life out of them. People were staring now. The hiss of the espresso machine seemed to punctuate every word. Sarah reached for my hand, and I pulled it back like it might burn me. I still love you, she said. I just lost track of us. That was the moment the world narrowed, not the affair. Not the secrecy, the casual way she said it, like we were mismatched socks instead of two people with vows between them. I didn't yell. I didn't throw the coffee cup sitting in front of her. I just turned and walked out. My feet felt heavier with every step, like they were carrying not just my body but the years we'd lived together. That night, I sat on the couch in the dark. The food I'd made for her was still on the counter, cold. I didn't even have the energy to throw it away. Round midnight, the door opened. Tom, her voice cracked. She came into the living room. Eyes red, makeup smudged. Please, can we talk? I didn't answer. She sat beside me, close enough that I could smell the faint trace of his cologne on her clothes. I made a mistake, she said. I'll do anything to fix it. We can go to counseling. Start over. Just don't leave me. I turned to her, and for a second, I wanted to believe. But trust doesn't come back just because you want it to. Love without trust is like a body without air, it can't live. I'm not filing for divorce, I said slowly. Not tonight, but you should know there's no coming back from this. Not for me. Her lip trembled, but she didn't speak. Maybe she understood, maybe she didn't. I slept in the guest room, the hum of the fridge still in the background, but the house felt gutted. As if someone had taken all the walls down and left me exposed to the cold. Morning made everything look the same and nothing feel the same. I made coffee because that's what I do. And because my hands needed a script. Sarah came out in one of my hoodies, sleeves swallowed over her palms, eyes swollen from a night that hadn't given either of us sleep. Please, she said, voice shredded. I'll tell my boss I'm taking leave. I'll block his number. I'll give you my phone passwords. I'll do therapy twice a week. I'll do anything. I believe she would do a lot of things. I just didn't believe we could resurrect something after we'd watched it die in public. I nodded toward the table. Sit. She did. You used Rachel as an alibi. You let me thank the wrong person for looking after you. You let me cook for a ghost while you fed a stranger pieces of our life. Tears slid down her face. She didn't wipe them. I hated who I was when I was with him, she said. But I hated feeling invisible here more. The words landed, ugly and honest. I wanted to argue list every small thing I'd done right. Every late night run for medicine when she was sick. Every bill paid on time. The surprise trip that got rained out. Love keeps receipts when it's scared. But what was the point? I'd played my part in the silence that grew between us. Not the affair that was hers, but the distance before it. Weeks where we spoke logistics more than love. Nights where our phones were warmer than our hands. I don't want revenge, I said finally. I don't want to rage and break plates and become a story your friends tell about your unhinged ex. I want my life back. I want to be someone I recognize. She stared at our coffee mugs, to rings sweating on the wood. Do you still love me? Yes, I said, and my chest ached with the truth, but I don't trust you. And I can't live inside that contradiction. We spent the day dividing abstract nouns in dibbles that suddenly had weight. Who gets the couch? The framed photos. The dog we'd planned to adopt next month. We spoke to a counselor on a screen who said repair was possible if both people wanted it with their whole being. I could feel her wanting. I could feel my no like a bone. That evening I packed a bag, shirts, jeans, the jacket I wore the night we moved in. I took the spare toothbrush from the guest bathroom because it felt less tragic than taking mine. Sarah stood in the doorway, a hand on the frame as if the house were the only thing keeping her upright. I'm not going to beg, she said. I don't think I deserve it. But I will say I'm sorry for the parts of us I broke, and I'm sorry for the parts sealed out. Forever because of me. I put the bag down and hugged her. It wasn't cinematic. It was awkward and real and soaked our colors. When we let go, I saw the girl from our early days flicker across her face, hopeful, reckless, kind. I walked past her and into the hall. Because loving someone and leaving them sometimes happen in the same step. I moved into a short-term rental with thin walls and a view of a parking lot. Nights were loud with other people's lives, laughter, arguments, a baby with the same midnight cry every Tuesday. I went to the gym even when all I did was sit in the locker room and stare at a water bottle. I canceled the anniversary reservation on my calendar. I told my parents and listened to my mom's silence land heavier than any question. The man from the coffee shop emailed once. An apology typed like a confession, blaming chemistry and loneliness. I deleted it. Rachel checked on me. I told her I didn't hate her. I meant it. She'd lit the match that burned the house down. But the gas had been pooling for a while. Wicks turned into something softer, The hurt learned to breathe without occupying every room. I went to a support group one night, the kind where strangers say me to and the world doesn't feel like a private joke at your expense. A guy talked about staying married after infidelity and building something new. A woman talked about divorce as a gift she gave her future self. I walked out into cool air and realized both stories were about choosing dignity. One Saturday, I boxed the last of my things and drove back to the house to drop off keys. Sarah met me on the porch. "He doesn't matter," she said quietly. "He never did." "You do," I said. "We did. That's why I can't keep us on life support because I'm scared of the quiet." We stood there for a minute, neighbors, sprinklers hissing like faraway applause. She took the keys. "Can I ask you one thing? When you tell the story, and you will, because people will ask, will you tell it kindly?" "I'll tell it honestly," I said. Sometimes that's the same thing. Time passed. I learned the shape of a life that fits one set of dishes. I found songs I didn't skip because they didn't sound like her. I went back to cooking lemon chicken and realized I could make it for myself. One night I wrote down what happened start to finish, without the lies I told myself to survive it, and I posted it, hoping some stranger at 2 a.m. who smelled another man's cologne on a shirt might read it and feel less insane. Here's what I know now. Forgiveness is possible without reunion. Love can be real and still not be enough. Walking away isn't quitting. Sometimes it's choosing the only version of yourself that can still look in a mirror. If you're standing in a doorway with your bag packed and your heart arguing like a lawyer, choose the voice that wants your future, not the one bargaining for your past. I locked my new apartment that night and felt something I hadn't felt in months. Rest. Thin and clean. The fridge hummed. A neighbor's dog barked at 7. Sound slept easy again, not because I'd rebuilt the old life, but because I'd stopped pretending it was still mine.